As you can see, I have a collection of hookup wire and solder, and I need a way to organize this stuff. Now, I've looked at commercial products that organize wire, and of course they all seem very expensive to me. So I purchased a wooden rod so I could just mount them all on the pole and dispense them that way. But that's not ideal. It's of course hard to get spools from the middle off, and when you put them all on the pole it sags because there's a lot of weight of wire, and of course the individual rolls can still unwind and spew wire all over the place. So I thought I'd make a little custom spool holder. So this is my attempt to make a wire dispenser. So for example, it has a lot of features that you can just slide the spool in, and it actually stays in. There's a spring-loaded clips at the back here that don't allow it to come out easily until you want it to. So it can be just used like this, and you don't have to feed the wire through a hole in the front. You can just use this wire guide and pull it through to the front. So there's no threading to be done. You just slide it in and it's good to go. And you can pull the wire out. So we also have some keyhole slots in the top and the bottom so that this can be mounted on a shelf. You can have a whole series of these on a shelf, and have multiple rolls of wire simply by putting in screws with the head sticking up to hold the containers. So what other features do we have? Okay, so these can be color coded. Obviously I made these blue, but they could be the color code of the wire that you're going to put inside. Another feature they have is if you want to actually put an axle in there, you can. Like this. So now it really can't come out. And it's still very easy to thread the wire in and out. So one of the reasons I got this thing was to actually dispense solder. And so to do that, I have here a roll of solder and an axle. And these axles actually work as winders as well. So if I pull out too much solder, I can just wind it back up using this telephone dialer at the side here. So you can wind wire onto the spool as well as pull it off. Also, I made a base for these things. So as you probably know, I use hockey pucks to mount a lot of my stuff because they're nice and heavy and they don't slip too much. So I made one with some heads for these keyhole slots. Okay, so that fits on there, and it's a nice stable base. And another feature that I have is these things are stackable. So if I make a stacking plate like this, I can put another one on top. Like this one, for example. But what I'm going to actually have is two different sizes of solder, one on the bottom, one on the top, so that I can use these with my soldering iron and not take up much bench space. So I'm going to have two solder rolls stacked up in one of these, and I have to decide whether or not the rest of these things are going to be on a shelf or on the desk, or they can actually be mounted, of course, hanging from a shelf as well, underneath a shelf. So that's some of the features. There is one other feature, and that is this handy little attachment that clips on the top here. And what that does is it allows me to store a set of clippers, or side cutters actually. And so I can just store my side cutters there, but if I want to cut the wire, I can just put it in the snips and snip it off. So it's a handy place to store the wire cutters, and also a handy way to cut the wire. So there you have it. There's a lot of features in this little package. And it's a pretty handy way to dispense wire or solder or whatever you want.